Hello everyone. Today we are looking at Gemini 3.5, and the important detail is not the name. It is what actually shipped. Google announced that Gemini 3.5 family on May 19th, 2026. The public release started with Gemini 3.5 Flash. Gemini 3.5 Pro is still described as internal for now, with a rollout expected around June 2026. So the useful question is narrower. What can Flash do today? Where does GPT 5.5 still lead? And what should you test before switching? That is the frame for the whole comparison. Start with positioning. Gemini 3.5 is being built for agentic work, not just chat. That means planning, tool calls, code edits, long context, and tasks that continue across several steps. Flash is already available in the Gemini app, Search AI Mode, AI Studio, Anti-Gravity, Gemini Enterprise, and the API. The published specs list 1 million input tokens, 64,000 output tokens, and multimodal input. So this is not a small backup model. Google is putting the fast model directly into real workflows. The next question is whether the upgrade is meaningful. Against Gemini 3 Flash, the benchmark jump is hard to ignore. Terminal Bench 2.1 moves from 58% to 76.2%. MCP Atlas moves from 62% to 83.6%. Finance Agent V2 moves from 42.6% to 57.9%. ARC AGI2 moves from 33.6% to 72.1%. The clean read is that Flash became much stronger at agents, tools, coding, and practical execution. Now put that against the older Pro class line. Compared with Gemini 3.1 Pro, Flash wins several practical benchmarks. It scores higher on Terminal Bench, SWE Bench Pro, MCP Atlas, OS World, Finance Agent, Char Shiv, and MMMU. But 3.1 Pro still keeps advantages on some deeper reasoning and long context tests. So the point is not that Flash replaces every Pro use case. The point is that many everyday agent tasks have moved down into a faster, more available model tier. That changes how teams choose defaults. Now compare Gemini 3.5 Flash with GPT 5.5. On Google's table, GPT 5.5 leads on Terminal Bench 2.1, SWE Bench Pro, GDP Val AA, Long Context, MRCR at 128K, Humanities Last Exam, and ARC AGI 2. Gemini 3.5 Flash leads on MCP Atlas, Toolathlon, Finance Agent V2, Char Shiv by a small margin, and MMMU Pro. In plain English, GPT 5.5 still looks stronger for deep reasoning, broad knowledge work, and hard retrieval. Gemini 3.5 Flash looks very competitive when the workload is tool-heavy, multimodal, finance-oriented, or latency-sensitive. So this is not a single winner story, it is a workload split. That is why the word Flash matters. It no longer means weak. It means Google is optimizing for speed, availability, and agent throughput. It also means the family ceiling is probably not visible yet. If Gemini 3.5 Pro lands in June 2026, the hardest reasoning comparison should be revisited with that model, not only Flash. For now, judge the release model on the work it is actually meant to carry. There is also a deployment layer that benchmarks do not fully capture. In the biggest Gemini discussions, users were not only arguing about intelligence, they were asking about usage limits, paid plan value, quota resets, and whether the experience still feels constrained. That matters because sustained agent work is sensitive to cost, latency, and rate limits. A model can look excellent in a table and still be the wrong default if the operating limits break your workflow. Capability and throughput have to be evaluated together. Here's the practical checklist. Use Gemini 3.5 Flash when speed, multimodal input, tool calls, and high-volume agent runs matter most. Use GPT 5.5 when the task depends on stronger deep reasoning, long context retrieval, careful code repair, or professional analysis. Wait for Gemini 3.5 Pro if you specifically want Google's flagship answer in this generation, and test them like infrastructure. Same prompt, same tools, same budget, same failure criteria. That is how you avoid choosing from launch hype. So the takeaway is simple. Gemini 3.5 is an agent-focused model family. The first public proof point is Flash. Flash is a major upgrade over Gemini 3 Flash and a serious competitor in tool and multimodal workflows. But GPT 5.5 still has clear strengths, and Gemini 3.5 Pro is the release that will decide the flagship comparison. Subscribe for more clear AI systems breakdowns, and I will see you in the next one.